What up, guys? This is another episode of Man Who Will with your man Finesse
Yo, 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 yo.
and Rebel. So this is a great topic today. It's about Cougars PYT and everything in between.
Hey.
We're gonna share some of our experiences, throw some ideas out there, and wrap it up nicely with our decision, our final verdict. So enjoy.
I always wanted a girl just like you. Such a PYT, pretty young thing. I think it would be real nice if you and I could, just get together. I'll give you all that I got. It's such a pretty young thing. TLC. Oh!
So Cougars, PYTs, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, older women, younger women, women your age. I guess, what do you prefer? What do I prefer?
That sounds good.
Yeah, well, what do you prefer? What do I prefer? What don't you like? What do you like? Where do you think you should go? Should you date older women? Should you date younger women? What have been your experiences? All of that, right?
Yep. So you want my opinion with that?
Open it up, Rebel.
All right, Finesse. Well, so whenever when you ask me a question like that, you gotta factor in. There's a lot of things that you gotta factor in, right? So for me, when I think about a question like that, I gotta think about not just her age, but is that girl open? Is she willing to try new things? Her experiences in life, her intellect, her personality, her energy level, like is it high or low? Certain things like that. But just from my experience, just to make it easier on the question, I would have to categorize it in 4 different types of women, right? So you have the mature chick, but she's young in age, that's my baby, I love that type of girl, mature but young in age.
Hey.
You have the older chick, but she's constantly living her second childhood. If you guys don't know what that is,
shout out to Nas.
Go listen to the Nas album, Stillmatic.
Second Childhood is the song.
Yeah. Oh, going back to mature. Like I guess, like for me, it's all relative, right? But to me, like a mature woman is somebody who's sure of herself, not easily influenced about the outside, from the outside world, and somebody that's not constantly looking for reassurance and validation, and somebody who's just carry herself well. Somebody like that, that to me is what I consider a mature woman. Just on the surface, we're not gonna get too deep into it.
All right.
And so that's 2.
Next part of this quadrant.
3. So you have the third, right? So you have the third, which is like
the young and immature, or
no. The young girl that's immature, that she act her age. Like you have the young that you expect her to be an immature chick, and you have the older girl you expect her to be a mature. But I guess like we could just put those together and say like and put them in one category altogether and say the ones who act their age. Right?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So my experience. Now I gotta break this thing down.
All right. So how about this? Let's start experiences one category at a time. We go back and forth on it. So let's start with the older.
Okay. So are you saying the old wise girl that acts her age, or are you talking about the old constantly reliving her second childhood type of girl? Because I've experienced. So these are my experiences with them. You know what I mean? I've run into all these types of women. So to make it easier, I'll start off with the older girl. The older girl who's been through. She's not living her second child, but like the older girl who's acting her age. How about that? Right. So what my experience with that is, how do I break it down? It's cool. She doesn't want too much. She just wants somebody who's gonna sit around and chill with her and give her time. There's pros and cons to it too. I mean, you do have the older chicks, you know, like the ones that I've ran into at least. I should say only two. They like to take care of the men. I mean, it could be like just a
Hey,
cultural thing. I don't know. But you know, like I said, she acts her age, so she's been through experiences. She's been through like marriage, divorce, has kids. The bad thing about it is when we do talk, it's never, it's never,
it's
it's
never
all,
positive. It's all the real stuff she dealing with.
it's all everything that she's dealt with in the past. Like, oh yeah, you know, well, you know, there's no good men out there, and
Ugh,
or like, you
ugh.
know, telling me that I wish you were my age, or I wish I was your age.
We're
But
taking it there already, huh?
exactly, she's looking for somebody to fulfill that spot, but you know, I can't fulfill it because I'm not trying to, you know, hang out with you like that. I'm not trying to carry you out in public like that. And no offense, it's just, you know, I just gotta set certain boundaries, you know, because if I don't set those boundaries, you're gonna start expecting other things.
All right, so at this point right now, you're talking about the Cougars. You're not just talking about like an older chick, like man, 2, 3 years. You're talking about
No, I'm talking about cougars.
10 plus years right now. All
Yes.
right,
So it all
cool.
depends on age, I guess. You know, if you're just a few digits older than I am right now, I don't mind it. But to me, I don't consider that an older chick. When I'm talking about older chicks, I'm talking about a girl who's 10 years older than I am. Because,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
10
That's how
years
you
older
feel
than I
for
am.
it.
Exactly. So to me, it's like a girl who's experienced the things that I haven't experienced. Basically, a girl that could be my mother, right? So that's what I
Oh,
consider.
really?
Well, you're thinking about your mother, right? I'm
Yeah,
not talking about,
exactly.
yeah, I'm not talking about my mother or your mother. But I'm saying, let's say if she had you at her teen years, if she had you in her teen
Got
years,
you.
she could be
Got
your
you.
mother. So if she had you when she was like maybe 13, then she could be your mother. I know you don't want to think about
16
that.
is a better sounding age, but all right.
Dude, you'd be surprised.
No, I wouldn't, because we grew up with them.
Exactly.
It's funny. I wasn't gonna bring this
Exactly.
up, but I remember the second older chick by my definition, not the cougar type, 2, 3 years, was or probably around when I was 12, 13. Um, poured my heart out to the girl. Was finally growing some balls or whatever to get the confidence to talk to women or express my feelings to women. And she was digging it. But then, like a year later, when we got to high school, she ended up pregnant, twins.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
hurts.
So that just, when you talk about 13, 14 year olds, the kids, it's like,
I'm being
I don't,
realistic.
no, you're good. You're good. I don't know why 16 is more palatable to me because that's still a kid and underage. But I guess maybe because of the time we grew up in, we got more people, we got more homies, friends, homegirls who have kids than who don't. That are like the kids are like in middle school, high school now.
Yeah, so pros and cons of an older chick. I like hearing conversation about like life itself, just nothing too specific, just you know, kind of let your ideas flow kind of thing.
Hmm.
So with an older chick, I'm able to do that. Cons of it is even though we're able to talk about those things, she's not really willing to experience other things. I mean, those like outside of what she knows because she's already set in her ways. And so she's like, well, you know, I'm older now. They usually start off the sentence with this. I'm older now, so I can't do these things, or I have kids now, I can't do these, that, this, that, and the third. And it depends on who you are, you know what I mean? As a guy, you know, you might like that stuff and you might not. But for me, that's like the negative side of it because like I'm energetic and I always want to experience new things, whether it's good or bad. Until I
Hmm.
experience it for myself, then you know I could be like, well, okay, I'm not. That's not for me.
Or
But
okay.
I'm always open to new things where I could say an older chick that I've met, that I've come across, aren't really open to trying new things or going out to do something crazy. So what about you? So what have you come across as far as older, younger? So we're not gonna get too deep into it, right? We're not gonna go as far as like mature, younger age. We're just gonna keep it simple. You just want to do
Nah, I might have to break it down because I've experienced all too. So we might have to break it down on that one. But since we talking about older chicks, well, so I don't know. I look at the ones you talking about right now, like we're about to be what they call mid-age, right?
that?
So older
Don't
chick.
say that, man. You don't
I
want to
mean,
put my
I'm
age out there like that.
sorry. Well, you younger than me, so
Yeah,
for everyone out
I'm
there, I'm
about like
about to
10
be
years younger than him.
word. So for everyone else out there, I'm about to be 30. I'm cool with it. I'm actually embracing it. I love it because I remember about 11 years ago exactly, dudes that him and I used to work with. So you do the math. He says he's 10 years younger than me, but yet we were working together. Anyone smart enough to do that math. So about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, about 11 years ago, dudes that we used to work with were 30. And, they were out of shape, had beer guts. And this is so off topic, but, to me, I appreciate it and I love it. When they were like 29 at the time, they had bear guts, they were out of shape, and they're like, "Oh, look at you, young whippersnappers." If you can imagine, from the Boondocks, that one dude, Ruckus, Uncle Ruckus. That's
Uncle
how they was. That's
Ruckus.
how they was. That's how their bodies was looking and how they was sounding. Like, "Oh, you young whippersnappers, you just wait till you get 30. You're gonna see your metabolism's gonna slow
Man,
all the way
man,
down."
shut your O'Reilly,
And now
come
I'm
out.
looking at me like I still can't put on no weight. I'm still trying to get these gains, put on muscle, and I like the way I look when I ain't got my clothes on. So I don't know what they talking about. So I'm very proud to actually be turning 30, and the only dead giveaway is I got a few grays in my beard, but I mean, if the beard is still on top of a baby face, you know what I mean?
I mean, you rather have hair than no hair, right? I mean,
Absolute
I'd rather go gray any day before I go bald.
word, word. But getting back onto the topic about the women, them, my experience with the older women, I think so. I got to take it way back. So when I was in elementary school, my next door neighbor, she was my babysitter. She was 10 years older than me. Oh, and
One of
obviously,
those
she's
babysitter stories. It always
word,
starts like that.
word, right? Like, no, I ain't got no mommy issues. Moms, whatever. She's cool, whatever. We good. But, as a young kid, as a young boy with young boy testosterone, you meet like a girl who's 10 years older than you, and it's like, wow, she's beautiful. Wow, she's developed, she has breasts, or as we used to call them, titties.
Tigo
um
bitties.
right, boobs, whatever. You're like, wow, the girls who I go to school with don't look like that. Their chests are flat. And wow, her hair is long, or maybe just whatever. She just is different. So I remember this chick. She'll remain nameless for sure. I won't even try to give her a fake name. She was my next door babysitter down in Miami, and man, she was fine. In fact, all of her sisters was fine and older, but they was all fine. And she used to help me ride my bike. Where you thought this story was
What
going.
was
All
it?
she did.
Was it a tricycle or an actual bicycle?
Oh
Hey man,
boy, you
hey
gonna do me
man.
like that?
I just gotta throw stones at you. I gotta ask. I gotta ask.
No, so it was
I
a
mean, she's
bicycle, but
helping
it
you
was
ride it.
it was a bicycle, but I was trying to get off the training wheels. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay.
And she,
Literally and metaphorically,
I
people.
know, right? But nah, man, she was dope, man. I love that girl. Thinking about her now she's married, kids, all that good stuff. She's probably in her, yeah, she's got to be about 40 now, 10 years older than me. So, um, great, great, cool girl. I mean, she used to go off on some people, but she was in high school at the time, I guess. So that was like light years ahead of me. Um, but man, she was fly. So See how I'm just
Word.
reminiscing on
Yeah,
her, right?
reminisce over you.
Word. She was just fly, man. And then I remember this other one actually, who also used to babysit me, and my parents would drop me over there. And she had a waterbed.
Mm.
Mm. She made me want a waterbed when I finally grew up. I mean, we ain't do nothing crazy or nothing like that. I was
Off
just on a
topic.
waterbed. She
Off
was
topic. Let's talk
fine.
about this waterbed, man. Because I went through that phase too. I went through a phase where I wanted a waterbed for that specific reason.
What reason?
Oh, come on,
I ain't
man.
admit to no reason why you wanted
Well,
one, but
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
one
nah,
because
you're
I
right.
wanted somebody to Netflix and chill back then when they didn't have Netflix.
There
We
was no
used to call it
Netflix.
we used to call it DVD
Do
and
you want a
chill.
Oh, I called it.
That's
Do you want a massage?
you want a massage. I still do that till this day.
Oh man. Oh
Nah.
man.
Well, that's like the in between. You got Netflix and chill, but the end part, it's like salt and pepper, right? N was an actual person, but nobody knew that.
Mm.
So it's like Netflix and chill. The N is massage, but
Got
nobody
it.
knows about it.
Nice try. Nice try.
So
All
that's
right.
like my technique on Netflix, and which is my hands
Massage
massaging, and then we
and
chill and like
gotcha.
literally cuddling people, nothing serious.
Oh,
But
okay, Swoozy.
we're gonna leave them out of here.
Okay, all right. Word. Shout out to Swoozy.
Shout out.
You'll probably never listen to this, but you the freaking man, yo. Anyway,
Yeah.
nah, though. Yeah. So I would just chill on her waterbed, and it would bloop bloop bloop, go up and down and
Hmm.
stuff, and it was just mad cool. She was in the 10th grade at the time, 16, and I think I was 6. And she was just doing her 10th grade homework and stuff, and watching me. And I remember I was being a little crybaby just so I could get some attention from her and get a bite off her sandwich. You
Mm.
know, like that was the
Slick.
kind of game I had back then for my babysitters. Be a crybaby so she could cuddle me and be like, "What's wrong?" You know.
Yeah,
Um,
dudes still do this till this day, man.
they need to step it up. But
Hmm.
anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that was my first experience with
Older
way
women.
older women like cougars or whatever. But I guess like for me, not to be too long winded, but just telling a nice little story. So yeah, in elementary school, the chicks, we was all, young, barely hitting puberty. And the women, the girls, I should say, that was getting the most attention, like when I was in 4th grade, was the chicks that were growing titties. Just
Tickle
keeping it real.
bitties.
Big
Tickle
old
bitties.
bitties, boobies, boobs,
Hmm.
whatever you called it. They were getting the most attention, the ones that were going through puberty. And I remember this one, yo, she, not only did she get boobs before, tits before everybody, she she got a perm before everybody. So she looked like an actual woman to us. We're in the 4th grade. So
Like one of those BET video girls.
pretty much. So she had boobs. We all in uniforms. She had boobs and she had a perm. And every other girl was natural. And before it was cool to be natural with the clips and the bubbles and the doodle plats. Yeah, I said it, the doodle plats.
Barrettes.
Yeah, the barrettes, the ribbons. And she was like grown in 4th
Mhm.
grade. So like we used to look at her like, wow, and she was nice too. She was something special. But yeah, so that was my first thing. And then but I didn't really, outside of the babysitters, it wasn't really a big deal. But when I got
Mhm.
to 9th grade, that's when it became a big deal. Because now, or 8th grade, 9th grade. So for us, some school systems were different, but in Florida, it was kindergarten to 5th grade was elementary school. Then middle school was 6th grade to 8th grade. I
Mhm.
know it's different for some people in New York and other places. And then high school is 9th grade to 12th grade. So when I was in the 8th grade and I was trying to find myself macking, you had a few girls who was my age, 8th grade, who was like, "Oh, I don't date middle school guys.
Yeah.
My man, right?
Yeah.
Fingers, my man, he's in high school. He's in the 9th grade." And then it was like, all right, whatever. So you do what you can. Maybe you in the 8th grade, so you holler at a 7th grader. But then when you got to ninth grade, now that don't quite work the same, because now if the chick is saying her man, you in the ninth
Because
grade,
you're
she
the
in the ninth
freshman.
grade, yeah, y'all freshmen, and she's saying her man's in the 11th, 12th grade. So what you supposed to do? Go back to middle school? What you look like? I
Yeah,
mean, of
a
course, y'all,
sucker.
you look like a straight sucker. Of course, y'all are right there, same age, but that looks so weird. That looked as perverted. I mean,
Hmm.
now it's okay because both of y'all were underage or whatever and whatever. But it looks like a high school, but it looks like a college perv hollering at a high schooler. It just don't look
Basically, back then, if you were dating a, or at least like from my experience, like of course, like me and you, we grew up together in a sense. But it was like if you're in high school, let's say if you're in 12th grade, you're a senior, and you're talking to some jitterbug, as we used to say,
right.
that was like a freshman
Mm,
or in 10th grade. If she wasn't a junior or a senior
mm,
like you were, that just meant that you had no game and
mm.
that you were so bad at what being a
Being a Mac,
being a
a
Mac,
boy
being a
Mac.
player that you had to go all the way down to freshman to Mac on some young chick who don't know any better. That's what it symbolizes. You know,
Damn, you
symbolize.
summed it up perfectly. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was like that for you to that extent, but yeah, that was essentially it. And so because of that, it meant I couldn't really holler at girls that were my age. And obviously, as a ninth grader, I was about to go to eighth grade to middle school. So
Right.
then it was like, okay, well, what about that 10th grader? She kind of hot. And I'll give her some initials because I don't know if I run into her again, but her name was
You
DB.
fake how you do it. You could have went with a fake name.
Ain't nobody gonna find her. Her name was DB.
All right.
Right. This chick, her name was DB. That's the initials I'm gonna give her. This is back, in my first high school half. So, man, she was fly, and we thought we were spitting some G. Even though we had a cell phone at the time. This is the reason why I still carry around. No, this is not
You,
the reason
I was
why I
like
carry around a pen.
you were the only person that I knew in high school that had a cell phone. You were ahead of the game, my man. We still had
What a
like it wasn't even a
cell phone was off half the
dude.
time, but okay.
Like you had the color screen. Back then, you either had the Nextel, which was the chirp. That junk was black and white, bro.
Boost
But
Mobile, baby, free chirps.
I remember when I got my first one, I was chirping all over school. But you were the only one with an actual flip phone that actually had a color screen in there. I was like, this dude is a baller.
I worked hard. That's all, man. Don't
This
take
dude
nothing
is a
from
baller.
me, man. One balling, man. I was
Yo, we
just
were all
hustling.
trying to get to your place.
Oh, don't do me like that. Not on the
It's
show, man.
true. It's true.
Not on. Anyways, let's get back on topic
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
quick.
We kind of fell off.
Nah,
Anyways, go
it's
ahead.
all good. We color in the picture, but nah. So I remember, yeah. So DB, like, even though I had a cell phone, me trying to do some sentimental game or whatever, I would keep a pen in my pocket. Maybe this is why I still always be with the Sharpie pen today. Anyone who knows me, I stay with the Sharpie pen. But I remember when I went up to him, was, kicking my game, I stuck out my hand. I was like, let me get your number. And I would give her the pen. She wrote it in my hand. So it was kind of intimate because she had to hold my hand to write the
Hmm.
number. The things you do that you think are like game changers, right? Like, whoa, that's the best game in the world. High school, right? Anyway,
Yo, as you get older,
yeah.
those are the best games, man. You take it back, and she's like, "Oh my god, this dude, he's," because you know me, I do things like that. I'm like, I bring out the pen. She's like, "Boy, you got a cell phone." I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean, you can't write it down."
word, word, make it intimate. But yeah, that was my first real one. We dated for a little while, or I don't know, talked on the phone. I never took out nowhere. But yeah, that started with her. Started with DB, and then when I graduated high school. Well, actually, before I graduated high school, there was this one. She just graduated high school. I was in 11th, 12th grade, and we was cool. I met her at the movie theater. She was working at the movie theaters, and for whatever reason, I was in Mac mode. Hollered at her, got her number, was chilling, and then she told me who she used to date.
Mm-hmm.
She used to date some dudes that we used to chill with. They older brothers, who was like some goons. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm cool with them, but I don't want that kind of trouble, really. So I
So,
had to.
so DB, because I'm not sure if you stated it before. So DB, does she fall? Which category does she fall in?
I
Older, younger, or
so she's older. She's older and just was on somewhat of the same page, right?
Mhm.
She was,
Like a
maybe
few years older?
nothing serious,
Got it.
like that. My older ones are like ones I would actually date to marry, if you
Oh,
will.
yeah, I'm talking
Not,
about
not
Cougars.
like, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll get to the Cougars in a second. I remember in high school, we found ourselves in the movie theaters again, trying to mac a couple, or not a couple, but trying to mac a mom and daughter. So I tried to go after the mom, and one of our homies, tried to go after the daughter, and it was just crazy because it's like I thought I was seriously about to be macking this mom, and she probably was just looking at me like, "Boy, you cute. You need to stop." But in my little kid self, I thought it was the real deal. Like I was about to be holding the mom over this hand, my homeboy is about to be holding the daughter with this hand, like whatever fantasy. But yeah, it was not happening like that. So that's really and besides a few that you and me know who I anyway from when we were older, they were older, and yeah, but
Yeah. All right. So next category, right? I've dealt with two types. You got the
mm,
young girl who's very mature, and then you have the young girl who just wants to party. Basically, acts her age, which is what you expect, right? So with a younger, mature chick, um, just from my experience, I think, I mean, we like the bodies. The body's still tight, but her mind is, her intellect and her personality, like she carries herself well. She's not trying to fit in with everybody. She's not trying to, get at the dope boys. You have those younger chicks who, just want to party all the time. But then you have, yeah, man. I mean, I've run into a couple girls actually where, actually, I told you that story. It was my mistake, and I should have known better. I knew it. I mean, she was young, and but I went against my principles. I was just like, well, she's young, but I give her the benefit of the doubt just to see, if it'll work out. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it
for
did
sure.
not. It did not. I mean, she
But
put me in a
whose fault was that it didn't work
that
out?
was definitely my fault for even initiating it, for even
Oh, word?
trying something. I mean, of course, that's because I'm older. Like, why am I even putting myself in that position where I'm dealing with a younger chick that don't know any better? Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I might have a different opinion on that, but that's all right.
Yeah, but like I said, she's immature. She want to party. She thought that I was involved in certain things, which because of who I am, right? Because of who I am,
Oh,
she thought that I was
okay.
involved in.
Different one.
Oh yeah, you're thinking about there's two different
I
ones.
mean, you need to just throw them nicknames out there, man. Don't have
A
me
cowgirl.
confused.
Let's just
Cowgirl.
cowgirl.
All
Let's just
right.
call her cowgirl.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it was fun. I mean, like we got to chill. We kicked it a couple times, and like I said, I took it back old school, like how I got her number. It was like, I'm sitting here writing notes to her back and forth.
Notes. The
Like
elusive
we
pass of notes.
we're older now. We have cell phones. We could have easily text each other, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna toss her a note. I'm
And where
gonna
was this?
go
Where's
left
y'all
field.
passing notes back and forth?
Let's
Important.
just say we were like in a meeting, a conference room, like in a
Okay.
conference, and
Fair
we
enough.
just happened to sit next to each other, right?
Passing notes back and forth.
And you got the speaker up there, and we could have been. I could have easily went out about it another way and traded numbers and went about it that way. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and write this girl a note. I'm gonna go left field, and she smiled. She loved it too. But then again, I was just caught up in the moment
Mm.
because I'm worried about myself at this point. I'm like, yeah, like I had my eye on her from since the beginning, and so the fact that I'm actually talking to her now and she's actually giving me some play, I felt
Mm-hmm.
good, and so I just went along with it. But then we hung out, and that's when everything went
You sound so
downhill.
depressing.
It's true though. She started revealing her age, and it's just like, what am I doing? Why am I even giving this
Mm.
girl this my time of the day? Like I could have been doing something else. You know, just to keep the story short. Let's just say I went to bed that night alone. Like we hung out, everything went well. The second time we hung out, no, that was the first time actually. The first time we hung out, and everything went well. It was going good, and then she pulled off something that I was not expecting. But it just showed me that, oh, okay, this girl clearly doesn't know any better, and so I just didn't rock with that. But anyways, so that was my experience with a younger chick who basically acted her age, and that was my fault for me going against my principles, which I should have known better. I should have just left her alone. But that was that. But I can't say I've met a girl, a young girl that's mature. No, actually, I have. So I have met a girl who was mature, young girl. Everything was smooth. We kicked it. Should I go deep? Should I?
Man, I mean, we talking amongst our brothers and
Yeah.
some of our cool chicks here.
All right. Like she was cool. Everything went well. She actually became my girlfriend. I thought, I don't know. Because I'm still thinking about it till now. I'm not sure
Right.
if she was mature or if she was just growing. Because how about I don't even get into this because
All right, well then I'll
I
take
don't want
over.
to.
That's the
I don't
case.
even want to put that out there
I'll
because
take over then.
I respect that. I respect where we
Word.
at. So I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
that
no,
alone.
definitely respect that. So
Yeah, I'm
my
gonna leave that alone.
experience, yeah, nah, my experience, like, all right, so obviously high school we were geared towards maybe same age chicks if you got lucky, or the older ones. And when I say older, I mean like a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So when I got out of high school, I had one, thought I was gonna marry her. Any Usually only almost any chick I get at, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna marry her. You sound like a sucker, but whatever. I don't date for fun. She
Yeah,
know who she
money
is.
dip.
I could shout her out. She was my Michelle Obama. Let's put it that way. She know who she is when I say that. But man, that chick she was cool, but actually no, she wasn't cool. She was
See,
cool.
now you gotta think about
Now,
everything.
I know, right? Now I gotta think about shouting her out. Now she was cool
Yeah,
for what it was when it was good.
yeah.
But due to whatever circumstances, the things she went through when she was younger, um, those things came back up and she reverted to old habits or whatever, old patterns and stuff like that. So long story short, where she was concerned, we ain't make it. I was like, nah, I can't do this. This is too much for me. So I
Mm,
had to be out of that. And then I remember when I came up here, um, I was trying to mag this one shorty, but I made a mistake. I wasn't just straight up about what I was doing. So for the ladies out there, sometimes dudes want to chill with you, and it could be that he likes you, but he just ain't quite say it. Maybe he's hoping you get it by the kind of attention, the level of attention he's giving you one on one.
mm,
So that was really my fault. I should have just been straight up with her, like, hey, I'm trying to get at you XYZ, early. I should have said that early. And I learned that lesson great. Like now I'm almost polarizing and I'm still trying to adjust and change a few things in my approach because I know where some homegirls are concerned, it comes off like, well, damn, like you ain't like, I don't even want chicks who are friends no more. Like I feel like I have all the homegirls, girlfriends that I need for the rest of my life. Anything after right now is like either I'm macking you or we just an acquaintance. Ain't nothing in between. And that's that because of the, learning lessons. So with that last one, we were kind of just two ships passing in the dark because I was feeling her like that. and she was just more so enjoying my company. You know, she was on another level in life. Maybe she was ready for some things that I couldn't provide. Um, and you know, I was trying to build with somebody, and she was past the building stage, if you will, probably, or she probably just wasn't feeling me like that, which is totally fine. Two ships passing in the dark, one of my favorite sayings. So she's cool, I'm cool, but we just wanted to be. And she was older, she was cool. But then coming back to my experience with the youngers, it's a little bit different for me. For me, I don't regret a lot of things in life, but sometimes I look back at it like, man, I should have macked that one, that one, that one, that one, that one who was younger. I don't call them regrets right now, but like I think about one when we were in, say, the 10th grade doing our thing or whatever, 11th grade, 12th grade. And I remember there was this one, and it wasn't like she wasn't pretty. She was pretty, she was beautiful, great personality, actually mature than one of the older ones that I actually was in a relationship with. And she was younger than my sister, or about the same age as my sister. I couldn't pull myself to get at her, even though she liked me. She was writing me notes and all that's you know, cheesy stuff. And I just couldn't do it because I'm like, just like you said, it was like, all right, if you macking a younger girl, or if you with a younger girl, then that says something's wrong, that your game ain't tight.
Yeah.
If you can't have a girl that's your age, or a girl that's maybe a little older, or like just a year younger, like if she's 2 years younger, it's like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with this dude. So
Yeah, it was a form of status, you know, because the girl's looking for an older guy anyways, because it shows that, well, to her friends or whoever she's trying to show him off to, it's like, well, you know, he's older. I remember there was girls back in high school that was in 12, they were seniors, and they used to date 21-year-olds. I used to work at McDonald's, but they would date
well,
them.
damn, when you say it like that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. Don't get me wrong. Or
No, I
anything
know,
like
I
that.
feel you.
There's nothing wrong about that. You know, I'm not here to diss anybody or, you know, insult anybody, but it was just, now that I'm older, or, you know, when I became 21, it was just like, why would I even date a girl back in high school unless I'm lacking in some way?
Exactly. I can't mac chicks in college.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Well, my advice to a dude, if you're in high school, now, if you out of high school, leave them high school girls alone. If you out of high school, I don't care if you 18. If you're not in high school, leave them girls alone, especially if you're 18, because again, even though she might be 17 and a half, that could still be some problems. You don't need them statutory rape problems or someone even just saying it and whispering about it. But I was in high school at the time, right? I was maybe 17 and a half myself, and girlfriend was like, I want to say 15. So it was fair game in terms of whatever, now that you look back at it. But when we were there, it was like, nah, I can't do it. She was beautiful, cheerleader, all that stuff, but she just was young, and she really liked me. And now that I look back at it and we out of high school, obviously she grown now, and we cool. But I'm like, man, she was a fly chick. I probably should have put all that foolishness out of my sight. I wish I had known better, and probably, that's what I'm saying. Because now that I think about the way she moves now in terms of her maturity for a girl who is younger, quote unquote, because she's not really younger now. She's almost 30 now, but yeah, just a few clicks younger than me. But I guess those years were a lot bigger when you were a kid. But yeah, so my experience with the younger ones, I would say, and then even after that, right? So you got kids who they're even younger than that. So you're in high school and they might be in middle school, and they're like, yeah, they're little jits, you know what I mean? And now it's funny because now both of y'all are adults, and she's only 4 years younger than you, right?
Yeah.
And now it's a whole different ball game. Like, it's kind of like Sin City. I don't know if y'all watched the first Sin City, but there's a movement or a scene in there with Bruce Willis's character and Jessica Alba's character. So Bruce Willis, he was a old cop or detective, and I mean this is of course a way exaggerated version because he was grown when he met her as a
Yeah.
little girl and grown when she became a woman. But he was the cop that saved her from whatever pervert or something. But and so I guess there was that bond between them, like, oh, he was the dude that saved this little girl or whatever. And then a few years later, for whatever reason, he ended up looking for her, went into whatever establishment
Gentlemen's
looking
Club.
for her. Right. Well, thanks. I wasn't trying to give it all away. Well, he was
Well,
looking for. He
it's the
heard that
movie.
right. That was the clues as to where she would be, and he was wondering, like, nah, there's no way she would be in here.
Yeah.
And then, basically when he saw her, she was a full blown grown woman. And he was like, man, wow, she's fly. She probably won't even remember me. And Shorty certainly did remember him and was very happy to see him. But anyways, not saying that's obviously an exaggerated version. But now even when I think about like, some youngins, and now you looked at them like they was way, way, way babies. And now they're like essentially grown too. They're younger, but they're only maybe 4 years younger than you. And now that you're in your 20s going into your 30s, they're,
Yeah.
and some of them are more mature than the older chicks that you happen to have dated back in the day, which is crazy. So that brings me to, I guess, I mean, what do you think? So what does it make you want to do? Would you prefer older, younger? Does it even matter to you?
So, like I was saying, right? So, if we're looking at the pros and cons, um, a younger chick, she's what I like about a younger girl is her innocence. She still has room to
Mm,
grow, so she's willing to try new things. But that could be a good and a bad thing, right? Because you got
true.
a girl that once you got a young girl that want to see the bad side of life, and then you got a young girl that's willing to experience the good things in life. So you have that with an older chick, you know, she's a pessimist. She's not.
Well, not all of them, but yeah.
I'm giving you my experience, and this is from my
Oh, okay.
experience, by the
Right,
way.
right.
This is only from my experience. I'm not talking about all of the chicks out there. It's not everybody. Just like not everybody thinks like me. Some guys might prefer either or, so it don't matter. But I'm just giving you my opinion on the subject. So here we go. So with the older chicks, I don't want to use the word pessimist. Let's just say they've experienced some bad things in life, and they're willing to think that every guy that they come across now is that guy, right? So you have a
Word,
girl who
word.
was married, now she's divorced with kids. I don't mind. Sometimes, like having a,
You better than me.
and then when I'm talking about older girls, again, I'm talking about cougars, not girls who are a few years older than me.
Okay.
I don't know anybody like that, to be honest with you. I only know cougars that are older.
Well, damn.
Well, damn, yeah, they're older. But they look good. Well, I mean, they're constantly bringing up their past experiences, and they kick game to me sometimes. Sometimes I'll tell them about some, like my something. Oh man, this happened with me and this girl, and they'll tell me how to go about it. And so I like that side of it because
Mm,
they'll sit there and tell me like, dude, like this is not how you approach them, and I'll sit there and listen. So
word.
that's a good thing that I get from it. Like,
You get coaching from a cougar, all right?
for sure, man. I get coaching wherever it comes from, as long as it's good. And so, um, if I had to pick between an older chick, like I said, or younger, there's many factors that come into play for me. I gotta look at all those things. Is she open? If she's willing and to try new things, um, her personality, is she cool? Is she somebody that I could have fun with? Is she somebody that I could kick up some music in the house and start dancing with? Um, is her energy level low or high? Does she want to just lay down all the time, or is she willing to just
Mm,
get up and just do something crazy? So I look at all those things. So for me, everybody's different.
mm,
Not everybody is. You can't just I could see your sister making the box around her face right now, because this is what your sister tells me, just not to get sidetracked. But your sister always like, Rebel, you like putting people in boxes. So not to
Yo,
put
she's
any,
just too wise for her own good, y'all. My
yeah,
sis. This is the little sis. She's a youngin,
she,
but
but
she's
mature.
wise for her young age. So
Yeah,
she's an exception for sure.
she's an exception. Yeah. So out of all the girls that I've met, so shout out to her. But yeah, so from my experience, I would definitely have to say, you know, a, a young girl that's vibrant, because I want my girl to look better than me when I get older. For sure. When I'm an old
Damn.
when I'm an older dude, when I'm old and gray, I want to look at the person sitting next to me like, damn, yeah, I'm still turned on. Um,
I love it. I love it. Keep it real. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
but then and this is, like I said, older chicks that are cougars. I prefer my a girl who's younger. Her body's still developing. I sound like a
No,
misogynistic
whatever.
dude
I
right
mean,
now, but
we are men, and
yeah,
this is some of the stuff that we hold important. Women have their own biological systems, why they go after what they go for, and so do men. And
and so
why I apologize about it.
yeah, so I'm growing, and we're able to grow at the same pace somewhat.
Hmm.
Whereas an older girl, I feel like she's constantly going back and forth and thinking twice about things on whether she should try it. Not saying that you shouldn't think about something before you do it, but she might be a little more hesitant.
Cautious. Word.
Whereas a younger girl, she's willing to try it. And this is me thinking about this today. I'm
Right.
always,
Always
like
growing, could
like
change
I
in the
said,
future or
yeah,
whatever.
I always say this. You gotta constantly reevaluate your ideas and perspective and the angles of life. So this is me thinking this today. Tomorrow it might change. Like I remember a few years back, I used to think totally different about just older women. Period. I used to be like, nah, I'm never gonna talk to an older woman. But I find myself talking to them now and befriending them, chilling with
Hmm.
them, and everything. So back then it was just like, nah, I don't want to be seen in public with this older chick, this cougar.
Wow.
Yeah, that was me. But that's
Nah,
what
it's
I'm
so
saying.
funny.
You gotta constantly reevaluate your ideas. So for me, like I said, a young, mature, vibrant girl, and a girl who's a few years older than me, I still consider young, just because we could relate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if she's a cougar, she's older. That's how
Yeah.
I look at it. I don't know, but
Okay.
I don't know if you got my answer out of
No,
everything
it's
I just
cool.
said.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be no answer
It
then.
doesn't have to be the answer, right?
Yeah,
So,
because shoot, I ain't got no answer for you. I mean,
so, anyways, that's my thought on it. What about you?
me, I'm kind of somewhat leaning towards the opposite side of the spectrum. So me, all my life, I don't know, after middle school all the way up, I feel like I've been fighting the fight. Make it sound more dramatic than it is. I've been debating the debate about men being as mature, maturing as fast as women. And I always hated that a lot of the chicks I would talk to that were 1 or 2 years older than me, 3 years older than me, they would be like, "Oh, men mature slower than women, but you finesse, you're an exception or whatever." And I'm like, but all of my dudes that I chill with are mature too. They on my level too. So I don't understand what you mean. Like I don't buy these statistics, quote unquote, that you are talking about. And now, over 10 years debating that same debate, I'm getting tired. Um, so I used to love the challenge of going at older women. And when I say older women, I'm talking about 2, 3, 4 years, because like for me, a cougar is like, for me, I'm gonna just keep it real. No, none of the cougars I knew back in the day was it a realistic relationship. It was you was probably about to end up somebody's boy toy.
Hmm.
That's what it was for me.
Yep.
They were not looking at me as a real viable option to make a long lasting relationship with, and that's totally fine because I wasn't looking at them as if I wasn't ready to have kids right away. So if I was with them and wait until I was ready to have kids, well, that might not happen. So when I talk about my older women, I'm talking about 2-3 years, and those ones that are just 2 or 3 years older than you, some of them, my experience has been they made that 2 or 3 years a big gap, like as if it was 30 years. Like,
As
oh,
if it
it's
was
not
back in high school.
right, as if they was like 30 and I was in high school or something like that. Like, oh, and some of them it was, they was probably wondering what their homegirls would think, what their family would think. Fine, whatever. So I used to, be very, wax very poetically and debate hard about why age ain't nothing but a number and why they shouldn't be tripping as long as we're on the same page. But now that I'm that age, about to be, 30 and, some of them 31, 32, 33, 34. Now I'm kind of like, I'm a bit beat up, and I'm tired of a bitter, jaded, pessimistic, unrealistic woman. Obviously, there are still many exceptions out there who, for me, it's like, all right, you older, cool. As long as you still stay in shape, you keep it tight. We on the same page of life, and you do not, very important, you do not care about what other people think more than you care about what you feel is real, then we could get it. But that hasn't been the case with most of the older ones I've dealt with. So now, it was very depressing to hear a lot of these chicks that I considered my age group, like you do, 32, 33, even though there was a few years older than me. It's very depressing to hear them all go about, oh, I'm getting too grown, oh, I'm 30, oh, I'll never find a man, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, man, I wanted to be Captain Save a Home Girl. Like I wish I could split myself up and just date them all. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, I was like, you know what? Misery loves company, and I ain't willing to give that kind of company no more. Those are the superstars to me. So one of my favorite basketball teams, or my favorite team, actually, let me not. I'm a bandwagoner to an extent.
Is it Cleveland? Don't bring it up.
All right, I'm bringing it up, darn it. I follow players, and my favorite player right now is LeBron James, and so his team is my team. So just to bring all this into perspective, LeBron, now he's got D Wade, he's got Rose. All of these guys are together on the same team, but they're older. But I still think I love these guys. These are my guys as players. So now when I think about my older women, it's a few years older than me, I'm like, man, I love these chicks, but they're older. Maybe I should just, go the other side of the spectrum and start rebuilding if they're going to be, pessimistic. Like I can't argue with all of them. So give these younger ones a chance, maybe, you know what I'm saying? And rebuild with some fresh rookies. So, I like, I'm willing to give younger chicks a chance that are mature, active, and even thinking about the things, like I said earlier, not necessarily regrets, but just a chick who she's not as jaded. Maybe she hasn't seen as much.
Yes.
But then there's the other side, right? Because about one of mine's, I like to quote that old school Rick James and Eddie Murphy song, "My girl wants to party all the time."
Dude, that's what I
Like,
mean.
that's one of my youngins who, I have to let her go. Like, because that's her life. Like, she's Jay-Z. You lost one. Like, all she's about really is that party life. And, I can't build with her. I like her. I think she's super cool, super sweet. I loved it when I first saw her and how we were vibing. And when we were first kicking it, or trying to kick it.
Yeah, it's not even about that too. Like, to me, whenever I see a girl who's going out every weekend doing things that seems like she's overcompensating, I tend to look at that as if she's she's not really sure of herself. I look at it as a girl who's, even though her intellect might be up, like
Word.
she like we
I mean,
could
she
kick a
book
great
smart.
convo. Yeah, we could kick a great convo and everything. But to me, those are signs of of a girl who's constantly looking for validation. Looking for somebody to fuel her ego.
Word.
Constantly looking for somebody
Yeah.
to tell her, "Hey, you look good," or
Like in my Instagram
yeah,
pics.
looking for likes, I should say. Yeah, I look at that as a girl who still might be mature, but she still falls in the young and immature category for me.
Right. For me, that's just another chick, like the one who I think we know who I dealt with somewhat recently. She just again, wants to party all the time. So she's not even that much younger, actually.
Yeah, but
Um,
we let's just say, like I said, I categorize those women, even though they might be a few years older, a few years younger. I
Same
categorize
age.
them, yeah, same
Yeah,
age.
yeah,
I categorize them as young.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, with her, like, because she's the opposite side of the spectrum. It's like again, two ships passing through the dark. Like what she want to do, her level of communication, and what I guess she likes to spend most of her time doing doesn't align with my goals, you know what I'm saying, with the things I'm trying to
Hmm.
build. And it's cool. I mean, obviously she's responsible. She makes her money. She spends her money. I mean, that's cool. I mean, you're
Yeah,
responsible, do your thing, but we ain't on the same page. And that's totally fine too. So for me, it's like on one side of the spectrum, I don't mind dating an older woman as long as she's not gonna pull the age card when we get into a disagreement, like, oh
yeah,
well, I'm older than you, blah 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 blah. Like, just don't try me. Like, don't try chicks, women, please do not try no dude out there like that. If you older than him, do not, because what you basically just said is, I'm your mama, so you need to listen to me. And that's
yeah,
not the position you ever want to be in with a dude. Yeah,
correct.
especially when he's trying to raise to your level or at least be who he is as a mature dude and you try to pull the age card, not a good look. So don't do that. But then on the opposite side of the spectrum, there's some fly younger ones too who I would give a chance, but then there's others who they just ain't on the same page either. So for me, I guess my question goes back to the original song from Leah, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Because at the end of the day, what I used to try to debate with older and younger women was, listen, age doesn't matter. Like, it's kind of like if you think about a clock or a watch. A cheap one, like most of the ones we rock, they have a second hand that moves tick, 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 tick. And we look at age that way as if, oh, I have just become this age. I just became this age. I just became this age. I just became this age, as if that's how life is. But life is more like a Rolex second hand. It just moves smooth and continuous. And it's different for everyone. Like time is relative for everyone. So we just happen to be this age, but that doesn't mean that because I'm this age, that equals my experiences. Like,
Hmm.
you could be two people, two different age, and on the same page, and that doesn't mean that the older one is less mature and the younger one is more mature. Y'all just
Hmm.
happen to be on the same page of life and just happen to be two different ages and could be cool for each other. So
Yeah.
for me, Aaliyah, age ain't nothing but a number. That has nothing to do with it. It's more so about, hey, are you two on the same page, and are you two secure in yourselves to not worry about, all right, well, he's younger, he's older, she's younger, she's older. So
Hmm.
that's where I am with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like exactly what you said, I definitely agree with it, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning. There's a lot of factors that come into play whenever you talk about older and younger chicks. It's not just a number, you know what I mean? First of all, you gotta factor all those other things in between that do
Right.
come
What has
into
she
play.
been through?
Exactly.
Because you have younger chicks that been sheltered all their life, ain't been through You have older chicks who've been sheltered all their life,
Exactly.
haven't been through anything, and there's a dude 5 years younger that's way more mature, way more experienced, way more, uh, hip to the ways of the world, if you will.
Hmm. is vice versa as well. So
Word.
younger, I'm still gonna stick with that. But at the end of the day, age, a few years older than me, a few years younger, it don't matter to me at all. But I'm gonna have to say, when it comes to the Cougars, I gotta leave y'all alone.
Oh.
So, I'm sorry,
Didn't we
guys.
almost have it all?
When it comes to the Cougars, like we
When
could
it,
be friends.
hmm
We could definitely carry a combo. You could school me on how to approach younger women, and I'm definitely gonna be there taking notes.
mm.
And I'm a guy who loves food, so cooking.
She better cook.
She don't better cook. I mean,
Y'all
I
for cook.
just I
I know,
just
no.
know the older women that I know, they love to cook. Yeah. So
Well, that's something to consider too. Then, so the younger ones, they ain't about they ain't about the chef life.
okay, so I think we've had this conversation before, right? When it comes to cooking, I used to always look at a girl like, nah, if she's not cooking, I'm gonna feel a funny way about it. I'm not a chef. I'm not somebody who knows how to cook. I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost burnt down the house making some cereal the other day,
Oh, whatever.
and
He is such a liar.
I mean, they were Fruit Loops. They were just your old regular cornflakes. So things get complicated. So
All right.
what I'm saying is, I'm willing to learn. So if I come across a girl who doesn't know how to cook, but she's definitely willing to learn, and she's definitely willing to throw down in the kitchen, YouTube, whatever,
Word.
I'm all for it. I'm all for that. So when it comes to like cooking, I don't necessarily. I used to think, I used to look at it funny. I used to give it a side eye if she didn't know how to cook, but I don't care anymore. As long as she's willing, to learn, and she's willing to take care of that part, of the things that she lack. If she's willing to grow, if
Yeah,
she's
she's
wi-
open minded.
if she's open minded and she's willing,
She might not know how,
yeah,
and once upon a time you probably would have looked down on that, but now it's like, all right, she might not know how, but she's willing to learn. She
yeah,
obviously has a brain.
exactly.
Cooking is not rocket science.
Yeah,
She's
and
willing to
everybody can learn anything. Like, I mean, we
yeah,
live in the information age now that anything you want to learn, you could just look up, and
word.
if you have the time and patience, you're able to teach yourself.
Yeah,
Because and so that's where I'm at with that, because you can find some girls, like I said, and I used to categorize this, but because now I'm a little open and understanding that there's different people out there, not everybody that knows how to cook is willing to cook.
word. That's true
My
too.
mother, shout out to her, I love you, but there's times, um and this is nothing against her, but I just know, because when I first thought about this, I was like, well, she's a great cook, but there's certain times where she just doesn't want to cook, and that's fine. But there's the extreme version of that, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is, there's a girl that knows how to cook, but is not gonna take care of her man. Like, nah, you know what?
Word.
I ain't got time for this. Like, you get your own
Word.
food, or she's like, well, I'm too busy. And it's like, she never, how to cook, but because she knows that it's gonna take time to cook for two people instead of one, she's
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna make time for it. Let's go out and eat instead. So I definitely don't. To me, and then you have a
Yeah.
girl who knows how to cook and she's willing to take care of her man, which is,
Yeah.
like I said, when I used to be one track minded about it, but now I'm definitely more open, as long as she's willing. If you only know how to, prepare I guess a ham, not ham, but what is it, a chicken and cheese or whatever, a grilled cheese sandwich. If that's all you know how to cook, but you're definitely, you're optimistic about the idea of, man, I want to learn how to cook, and you want to take care of your man. Yo, girl, get in this car.
Holla at me, girl.
I'm all about
Yeah.
that. So as long as you're open to the idea, that's where I'm at with it right now. So
It's so funny how it came to food. Because now I got a comment. It's like it feels off topic. Maybe people listening might think it's off topic, but nah, it's true. One of the ways to a man's heart is through his stomach. Like the care that shows. Like I think about this one. Shout out to the booty slapper.
Ah,
She chefed it up for me with so much love, and she was actually telling me about how she put love in this, and it's one of my favorite memories chilling with her. um and then I'm thinking about like this older chick who I was dating, one of the ones who I mentioned earlier in this conversation, who she didn't really know how to cook, but still, she was living with her mom at the time. I think I was about 21 and she was 23, 24 at the time, so whatever, older. She didn't really know how to cook, but she still took the food her mama cooked and warmed it up with love. You know what I'm saying?
word.
And it was only me and her over there. So I could dig it. I could respect that she was somewhat willing. And then I know this young one right now. She don't know how to cook, but she says she's going to learn how to cook because she don't want no other chick cooking for her man. I'm like, okay, shorty, do you?
Word.
Do you? She don't want no other chick cooking for her man, so she don't know how,
She
but she gonna
knows.
learn.
She knows, though. I mean, that's what I like. That's the attitude that, whether you're young, whether you're old, that's the attitude you need to have when it comes to cooking. I mean, we gotta eat.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't mind cooking. I'm willing to learn as well, but if my girl ain't willing, I gotta step aside.
Word. And then just to tie it back up, so that's the cooking portion. But for me, um, when I was in my younger 20s, my teens, older didn't matter, and to an extent, wishful thinking older still doesn't matter to me, because obviously there's some of y'all listening now who I chill with, who y'all older than me, whatever. And I think you would agree we both can hold a conversation. We both cool. But then, on the realistic side, like I love to quote that, hey, Sarah had her first kid when she was 80. I don't know how many chicks out there still got that kind of faith, and I'm not ready to be a father just yet. Um, I want to feel like I have that kind of faith. Like, hey, if she's willing to, hold it down and wait and not tell me that, oh, nah, bruh, ain't no kids coming out of here now. I'm too grown. Then obviously I gotta let her slide. But for me, as long as we can vibe, whoever she is, I really still don't want to put an age on it. But because I have been debating that debate for so long, and a lot of the women who I do know who are older love that debate, I got tired. So now I am more considering like the younger ones who happen to be mature. I'm still open to the older ones who are mature and who are on the same page as me,
Hmm.
but I'm more considering the younger ones who I probably had not before. Legal, of course.
Yeah.
And on that note, this is a
Hope
wrap.
you guys enjoyed it.